Welcome to The Flirty Vegan, the podcast that motivates you to thrive through plant-based living. I'm your host, Jenny Shafitz, certified life, breathwork, and vegan lifestyle coach. After decades of dieting and deprivation, I found the secret to living a compassionate, nourished life. Whether you've been vegan for years or you're just flirting with the idea, prepare to be inspired by real people who courageously chose health and love. It's time to look better, feel better, and do better. Hello and welcome to The Flirty Vegan. It is 2026. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you had an amazing holiday season, and I hope that you welcomed in the new year just the way you wanted and that you're off to a wonderful start in this new year. My name is Jenny Shafitz. I'm your host. I'm a life, breathwork, and vegan lifestyle coach, and I'm in the process of getting another certification, this one in plant-based nutrition. So I know what I'm talking about. Or at least I'm on my way to knowing more about what I'm talking about when I discuss plant-based nutrition and all the benefits that come with a vegan lifestyle. If you've been listening to this show for a while, thank you. I hope you have loved the episode so far. And if you're new today, then thank you for showing up and being curious about the lifestyle and also the messages that my guests share. So I hope you go back and listen to previous episodes and really drink up the knowledge that these very special guests are sharing. And today, as a perfect way to ring in the new year and kickstart whatever goals you might have, I am super excited to bring in a person that I have admired for so long. I first heard Kathy Freston on Oprah's show. So that's pretty spectacular that I am kind of 2 degrees from Oprah with this conversation. I know Kathy knows Oprah, so it's only a matter of time before the queen of TV, queen of interviews finds her way here. Let's just put that out there. We're all about manifestation here. So let me tell you about Kathy. She is a writer, advocate, and board member working at the intersection of culture, ethical food innovation, and the celebration of animal sentience. She's the author of 9 books, including 4 New York Times bestsellers, and her work has been featured on national television and in leading publications. And I just want to point out, it was her book, Quantum Wellness, that I heard her talking to Oprah about. That was what introduced me to the world of Kathy Freston. She serves on the board of the Good Food Institute, a global network of nonprofit science think tanks working to advance alternative proteins. She also serves on the board of Switch for Good, a coalition of athletes, health professionals, and advocates committed to accelerating the shift toward plant-based living. And another thing I want to add, Switch for Good is the organization founded by my friend and previous guest, Dotsie Bausch, who, if you have seen the movie The Game Changers, she is the talented, brave, gorgeous Olympic cyclist featured in that movie. Through Kathy's writing, media voice, and board leadership, she champions forward-thinking ideas, lifts up the sentience of animals as central to a kinder world, and helps shape a more sustainable, ethical, and dynamic future. I mean, when you hear that, doesn't that make you want to jump into her world and soak up her knowledge? I hope so. She is super inspiring, and I'm thrilled that she found her way to this show. But before I get into the conversation, I want to tell you what I'm doing at The Flirty Vegan. My goal here is to support and encourage those of you who are flirting with the idea of going vegan. Now, I get it. This word vegan is so loaded. It's filled with notions, negativity, and misunderstanding, really, because of the way it's presented in TV shows or social media, people making fun of it like, oh yeah, that ice cream must be terrible because it's vegan. So my goal on this show, in the content I produce and in the coaching that I do, is to flip the script on that and educate on what's true. Most of us have grown up eating animal products, myself included. I spent the first 45 years of my life devouring chicken, turkey, deli meat, red meat, low-fat dairy, sometimes high-fat dairy, fish, eggs, all the animal products I could get my hands on. because I was conditioned to believe that that's how we get strong. That's where we get our protein. That's what's necessary to live a complete life. Because look at the world around us. It's sometimes tricky to travel or socialize, go to sporting events, and find nourishment that isn't based in animal. But the world is changing because the world has to change for sustainability reasons, financial reasons, ethical reasons, social justice, oppression, pollution. The list goes on. And if you tuned into the Christmas episode with Thomas Wade Jackson, he did a wonderful presentation of his top 6 reasons for going vegan. So I encourage you to take a listen to that episode. I think it will really be helpful and interesting for those of you flirting with this idea. And maybe your idea is just to lose a few pounds or try to get that cholesterol number under control. That's fine. That's fine. Maybe you've had some people in your life get diagnoses that scare the crap out of you and you want to get your health under control. Great. Going plant-based is a way to do that. And I, as the coach, am pumped to help you along the way because I've done the research for you. Sure, you can ChatGPT a whole bunch of meal plans, get a shopping list. You could do that, but it's not the same as working with a coach, just like you can ChatGPT your way to a fitness routine. But ChatGPT isn't getting you in the gym. It's not getting you to the stove, making that food that you know is better for you. But a coach, someone like myself who is compassionate, loving, enthusiastic, and constantly learning, I'm the person that will help motivate you to do this hard thing, to make the change, which I should say is perceived as hard, but not so much when you have a coach beside you. So I want to encourage you to check out theflirtyvegan.com, see all the things that are going on, and start working with me. Isn't your health worth it? Isn't your future worth it? Isn't the planet worth it? There's no reason to start 2026 off the same way you have every other year, trying to kill yourself in the gym to mitigate all the damage done with food, or to tell yourself, I'll just go dry January and hope that that sticks for the rest of the year. A friend of mine said something really amazing recently that I am going to quote here, which is, eating your ethics doesn't take willpower. So for anyone who has tried to make adjustments to their diet plan, their list of foods that they're going to eat or not eat, when you're coming at it from a diet mentality, a good versus bad mindset, yeah, that takes willpower. That is very icky in the body. But when you eat your ethics, that is so nourishing. It's so supportive. It feels so good to choose foods that align with your values. So I hope you'll check out what I'm offering at The Flirty Vegan. I hope you'll choose to join me for private coaching. And I hope this conversation with Kathy Freston inspires you to pivot away from so much animal consumption. I'm not here to tell you to go white knuckle 100% day one. But as Kathy Freston likes to say, lean in and focus on crowding out, not cutting out. So with that, I bring you my conversation with Kathy Freston. What a perfect way to start off this beautiful new year. I am sitting across from someone I have admired for quite a while now. Kathy Freston, welcome to The Flirty Vegan.
Thank you, Jenny. So great to be here.
This is just such an overwhelming treat for me. So I'm trying to contain myself because I first heard you on an Oprah podcast, or I don't even know what they call them, radio show. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if someone gets Oprah's time, they've got to be pretty special.
Well, I felt very special, trust me. Very, very lucky. Yes.
Yeah, you might be the first person that I'm talking to who has also spoken to Oprah. So I have like 1 degree of separation from Oprah now.
That's right. We're all connected.
I love that. Yeah. So next time on the show, Oprah. Just kidding.
Yeah.
So Happy New Year to you. And now that this show, thank you. Now that this show is a few episodes underway,
listeners, hopefully, I mean, there's always new listeners every time. So for those who are returning, thank you. For those who are new, we do a thing on this show because it's called the flirty vegan, which means people are listening because they are flirting with the idea of going vegan or making some sort of tweak to their life that will benefit the animals, the planet, their health, their relationships, their karma, whatever. So I would like to begin by asking you, Kathy, what attracted you to veganism?
Well, what attracted me to veganism was actually it was my dog, my little dog Lotzi. I'm a big dog lover, and my little dog Lotzi we were playing around. She was a little Chihuahua, and she was on her back, and I was rubbing her belly, and her little, paws were moving around so happy. And I had a couple weeks earlier received something in the mail. It was like a pamphlet from some animal rights organization. I don't know. It was a random thing. And it was a picture of a cow being dragged to slaughter. And I remember that hit me like, oh, that's dairy. I didn't know that that was dairy because I always thought dairy was this like sweet little thing. But apparently, when dairy cows are used up, they're hauled away for slaughter for hamburger. So anyway, I was playing with my little dog and I was like, oh, just that voice in my head was like, oh, I love animals so much. I love this dog so much. I just love animals so much. And this voice in my head said, well, if you love animals so much, why are you eating them? And damn that conscience, right? That gets in your head. It's like that voice of inconvenience.
Mm,
And I was like, well, but this is my dog, and we're talking about food animals, so
right,
that's a
right.
different thing.
Totally different. Yeah.
Totally different thing. So I was already writing at that point, and I was writing about consciousness and how to have more soul and consciousness in your life in terms of work and relationships and personal growth. And I sort of in that moment realized, well, I don't have a lot of consciousness or awareness around my food.
I was going to say, which by the way, to me is a very conscious thought.
Yeah, well, that's what happens once you start thinking about things, it leads to the next thing, right?
Right,
So
right.
so I was like, oh my God, this is uh, so I started picturing like my little dog Lotsia. I was like, I love her. I just love her. And maybe the only difference in my dog and the cow that I saw the picture of was that I know her,
Yeah.
right? I'm familiar with her. So I thought,
Mm,
okay, I'm just going to do a little thought experiment. And I pictured her in a slaughter line, just like a cow would be being moved toward the ultimate
hmm
fate, horrible fate. And I know my dog, she would be like shaking, she would smell things, she would hear things, she would sense things, and she
hmm
would be just absolutely terrified. And I thought, in that moment, I thought, I will do anything to spare this dog this kind of fate, to go through this. And I just thought, well, Kathy, if you would lay down your life for this dog,
mm,
basically, why are you so complicit in saying, yeah, I'll take that hamburger with that cow, who went through this same fate, or the bacon with the pig that went through the same horrible fate? And I just suddenly realized that I was a hypocrite, that everything that I had sort of wanted to be in my life, which is someone who was aware of my choices and doing things with a certain amount of consciousness around it. And I was a hypocrite because I was eating food that I wasn't thinking about. Like, what was the footprint behind this food? What happened to the being before she became the meat on my plate? So that's what attracted me to veganism. I had zero awareness around it. I had zero desire to be vegan and zero desire to certainly become a vegan advocate or voice. but that's what the light bulb did in my mind. And I just sort of decided I'm going to lean into this. I'm going to lean into being the person who doesn't say yes to suffering for animals, which means I'm not going to say yes to certain foods. And it didn't happen overnight, it was gradual.
Yeah. That philosophy of leaning in is so powerful.
Mm,
And it's what I hope is what happens here.
mm,
It's one of the things I find so aligned between your voice and mine. I'd like to think of myself that way, is I'm trying to present this leaning in approach. Like, are you flirting with
right,
a a way of living more consciously, living more with integrity, more
right.
compassion, and so it doesn't have to be all in as much as I would like that to be
Right.
the
Well,
way. I
that's the
mean,
flirt, right? The
yeah,
flirt is also, the flirt is you're getting close to it and you're seeing if it works. It's like if you're flirting with a person, you're like, is this working? You
right.
know,
We're not just going to buy rings right now. We have
right.
to,
But do we like each other? Do we vibe with each other? Does this work for both of
right.
us? Right. So if I'm flirting with someone, I'm testing it out and flirting with eating plant-based is the same thing. And I think that's why it really worked for me was like, I'm just going to sort of test things out and see how I feel, see how it feels like in my body and in my life. And I thought, I just don't want to overwhelm myself. Like you said, I don't want to go and
Yeah.
buy the ring yet because I don't
Mhm.
want to move in yet because I don't know if this is going to work.
Right. I'm not going to throw everything in my pantry away.
That's right. That's
Right.
right. And, there are certain things that I just love too much, that I don't want to just give away. So that the leaning in, like the leaning closer to it and getting to know it a little bit more was really good for me because as I did that, it's like getting to know a person more. I started learning more about the differences in plants in your body and animal products in your body, right? And just take, for instance, iron, right? We all
Mm,
need iron, and people are like,
sure.
you got to get iron.
Yeah.
So there's plant iron, which is non-heme iron, and animal iron, which is heme iron.
Hmm.
And so you could say, oh, I think I need more iron. And you eat a lot of red meat and, liver, all those things.
Hmm.
Well, heme iron just busts into your cells whether you need it or not. And if
Right.
you don't need it and you've got too much, it turns into,
Problems.
it's an oxidant. And so
Yeah.
it starts, creating inflammation in your body. Whereas non-heme iron, if your body has enough, it's like it takes what it needs. And if your
Yes.
body has enough, it's like, oh, okay, we'll just discard the rest.
It's
It doesn't
brilliant.
bust in where it's not needed and therefore turn into free radicals.
Right. Right.
So I was learning more about this. I'm not a religious person, but I tend to be someone who, I don't even know if the word is spiritual, but someone who wants to be more soulful, I guess, more soulful in my life and to live with soul and to live with a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning. And
Yeah.
so I started kind of diving into what the philosophers and the religious leaders and, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, even Islam, their attitudes toward animals, on the mystical level, right?
Right.
And the prophets that were super interesting to me. And I just felt like, well, this is interesting because not only do I find that this food is going to be better for my body, I'm going to live longer, which we can talk about, and thrive in a gazillion different ways in my body. But also, I'm going to be living according to spiritual values for me, which are
Yeah.
I'm very simplistic. It's just basically kindness,
Yeah.
mercy, alleviating of suffering, being a responsible steward, of
Mm,
this planet.
yes.
So I thought, well, that's interesting. So I can basically, because I can't go out and stop a war. I
Right.
can't go out and,
Right. Change the economy or yeah.
change the economy as
Yeah.
much as I would love to do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But I can live
Hmm.
according to my values in what I eat 3 times a day. So that was like, okay, I really like this.
Yep.
That feeds my self-esteem. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm living out the sort of the path that I want to get on, in a way that's pretty dang simple. And and then I just started finding really delicious foods that I actually started loving. So that
Yeah.
was the big thing for me too, is to actually find food that I loved.
Right. That is the key.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was thinking with the whole flirting thing, I have a girlfriend who told me that she did not like her husband on the first 2 or 3 dates. She was like, I'm done. I never want to see this guy again.
Mhm.
And a mutual friend of theirs said, No, no, no. I think you guys are perfect together. Just give him another try. Give him another try, please. And she was like, Okay, this is it. Like one more and we're done.
Uh-huh.
And that was obviously the magic moment for them. But it's
That's right.
kind of like when someone eats tofu and says,
Yeah.
it's disgusting. I'm never eating that again. I'm not going vegan.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if my friend had that attitude about her husband
Yeah.
on their first date, their second date, their third date, there'd be no children, there'd be no future life for
That's
them.
right.
So it's like
That's
you don't
right.
have to write off tofu because
That's
you had
right.
one bad meal.
And it's like a neighborhood you're moving into. At first it's foreign and doesn't feel like your hood and you don't know anybody and everything, but it's like give it a minute, wander around, get to
Yeah,
know some of the people, find your little spots and everything, and you get to know a neighborhood and you get to start feeling familiar, and then it's like, you become acquainted with this thing,
yeah.
and you're able to where the good restaurants are now, where the cranky neighbors are and where the sweet neighbors are, and
Right.
you know what I mean, which street
Yeah.
you want to live on and what kind of vibe you want. So it's like just like what you're saying in a relationship, it's the food has so much to do with it. And I think there's, for me, I get really bummed out when people are insisting, like, you have to eat whole food, plant-based, and, it's got to be basically rice and beans and kale. Well, if you're new to eating plant-based,
Right, right.
I mean, I eat that way a lot of the
Yeah,
time. I'm very
yeah.
simple in my food and it's
It
delicious.
took me quite a few years into this vegan journey to appreciate a whole food plant-based approach.
Yeah,
Curve was,
sometimes a girl or a guy just needs a burger
yeah,
and fries.
yep,
And sometimes you just need like a Reuben sandwich, you know what I mean? And those things are luckily, accessible and plant-based now. Like I
yeah.
absolutely love, Impossible, Beyond Meat,
Hmm.
Hungry Planet, all those great brands that are kind of getting a trashing right now from this
It's terrible.
process thing.
It's so terrible.
But it's like, have you looked at what is in your meat or
Yeah,
dairy in
yeah.
order for it
I
to
mean,
look edible?
right around Thanksgiving, I had a guest, Andrew DeCoriolis, who is the executive director of an organization called Farm Forward, and he's working
Mm,
toward
yes.
reducing factory farming, or the perfect vision would be eliminating it, but he's at least trying to improve
Yeah.
the situation. And
Mhm.
he told me what I didn't even know about beyond steak tips. And he's like, these are phenomenal. And one of the topics of our conversation was humane washing and how
Yeah.
labels are
Yeah.
a disaster now. So before I went vegan, I was so proud that I was buying pasture
Of
raised,
course.
farm friendly, little
Right.
red barn pictures
Right.
of bison and cows. And he said he threw all that in the garbage. And he's like, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, the reality is these labels are misleading. And so for the people who are trashing beyond because
Mm.
of
Oh my
poor
God.
quality, at
It's
least I
like,
know what I'm getting.
You know what you're getting. And by the way, I mean, it's really pretty darn good. They're down to something like 4 ingredients in a lot of
Right?
products. And it's really like, if you look at Ethan Brown, who's the founder, I mean, he eats Beyond Meat probably twice a day. He's like the most fit, healthy,
Yeah,
guy in the world. He goes a million miles a minute. So it's like, and most of us aren't eating it twice a day,
of
right?
course.
Most
Right,
of us
right.
are eating it like, well, I have spaghetti and meatballs once a week, and
Yeah,
the Beyond meatballs are fantastic. Or I'll
yeah.
have, chili made with Impossible. There's like, but in between, I'm eating salads and
Yes, yes.
kale and rice and beans and stuff like that. It's like we all need to have the fun food and we all
Mhm.
need to have the healthy food. And it's a matter of finding your balance with all of
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
So,
I interviewed way back before this show even flipped to the flirty vegan. I interviewed Bailey Ruskis, Chef Bay,
mhm,
and she has phenomenal recipes on her platform. I have her Substack, and there was a whole
mhm.
post on on copycat Halloween candy.
Oh,
And I got to
interesting.
tell you, I made these vegan copycat Milky Ways, vegan
Oh,
copycat 100 gram
be your
bars.
neighbor. God, that sounds amazing.
And I'm
So good.
yeah, I have to
So
pull
good.
myself away from the
Yeah.
refrigerator
And
because
by the way, there's also like vegan candy, like Smarties is my
yeah,
favorite
I love
candy. No matter,
Unreal.
yeah.
The Unreal peanut butter cups are
Oh
always
my
in my cabinet.
God, they're so good. They're dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, they are. They are. So
They're
there's
so
just
good.
I can't stand anyway. So that brings me to my I can't stand, which I'm trying to move away from because I'm trying to be
I love a
understanding
good
and
rant. Bring it on, sister.
I'm wondering when you had that epiphany of I'm being a hypocrite
Mm,
and I need to shift.
hmm
And I said hypocrite because that was your word. But you had this feeling of cognitive dissonance, of I am not living in alignment with the value of how much I love my dog and other farm animals. So you made a decision to switch how you were eating. And I know that you did the lean in and it took a while to go 100% vegan.
hmm
But I'm curious about your friendships, your relationships, your
Yeah.
perspective of other people in your life because you recognize that you were being hypocritical in your behaviors.
hmm
But I imagine other people in your life
hmm
are also hypocritical in their actions. So how do you manage that?
Well, I just think I was there too. So I totally understand it. I mean, Jenny, I used to go fishing. I used to go
Yeah.
hunting. I used to go
Hmm.
bird hunting with a boyfriend. So I grew up in Georgia. It's like what we did. It's what I did in my early 20s. So I like have no place to judge anyone or size them up. I was there. And
Mm,
so I understand it. I have a deep understanding and just an open heart for it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I think that there are some people who are curious about personal growth and being a force in the world for change and betterment for all beings. And then there are some people who just don't care. So I don't really focus on anyone who just doesn't care because it's just not my business and they've made it clear that they're not interested.
Yeah.
I was not one of those people. So when that pamphlet arrived in the mail, it was like it landed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so with some people it lands. And if someone expresses a curiosity, then I'm certainly, I'm game and I'm the first one to like share the wealth of information or good food or a great meal or whatever. But I'm just certainly not someone who will judge.
Mhm.
Now, having said that, there's lifestyle, right? So in terms of partnership, it can be tricky if one person, wants to cook steak at home in the kitchen and the other person sees a cow on the
Yeah.
stove. So
Mm,
there are things that, and we're all different. We're all wired differently. For some people who are plant-based, it doesn't bother them, to have meat in their house, and some other people it does. So it's just a matter of like you have to find with everything, maybe your religion. If you're a particular religion and it's really important to you, you want to find someone who maybe is, even if they don't share that specific philosophy, that they're open to it and
right.
they're an ally of it.
Yeah.
That's all we really need, is to have allies in our lives who see what is important to us and honor it just like we honor what's important to them. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna drink with an alcoholic because
Sure. Yeah.
I
You
even
want to be an ally.
yeah, if he says like it's fine, don't worry about it, I just don't want to make it uncomfortable in any way. So
Mm,
I'm going to be respectful. Or if I'm with someone who's an Orthodox Jewish person, I'm not going to have, well, I wouldn't eat pork anyway, but even
right.
before I
Right.
was vegan, I wouldn't do that. You know
Thanks.
what I
Yeah.
mean? So I just think that there's a way that we decide who we're going to be with. And also for me, an intimate partner is different than a friend or a coworker or whatever. I think an intimate partner is like they're someone who's closer, that you share a living space. They know your heart in a different way than a friend would, or a coworker or something like that. So there's a different level, I think, when you talk about that, like those very close romantic partnerships.
Mm, yeah. All right. Thank you for that.
Mm,
So I'm going to switch gears. You have written so many books, all of them incredible.
thank you.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a favorite because it depends on what mood I'm going for.
Oh,
It was the quantum wellness one that you were talking to Oprah about.
yes.
That's what hooked me into the Kathy Freston
Oh,
world.
thank you.
Uh, but the 72 reasons to go
Mm,
vegan. I
mm,
mean, I've heard you talk about it so many times on other shows, and it's just such a fun,
yeah,
digestible, almost like a pamphlet, really. Like it's no, it's just such a
yeah.
like a little guidebook on the benefits of going vegan.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you love all 72 reasons, just like children. I'm sure they're all your favorite. But
Uh-huh.
and I've heard you talk about various ones in interviews, but I'm curious
Mhm.
if you could touch on a few that maybe aren't well known or commonly discussed reasons. Like on this show, I have talked at length, and my guests have talked at length about the environment and
Mhm.
animal cruelty
Mhm.
and wanting to be healthier, which are
Yeah,
all three of those are broad reasons
yeah,
that I know you hone in on. But
yeah.
what might be some of the 72 reasons that people don't jump to?
Well, let's go to sex. That's always a fun thing. So, we have a chapter. When I say a chapter, it's a page long.
I
They're
love it.
very short entries. They're page to a page and a half per chapter.
Makes us feel very accomplished as readers.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Well,
read 25 chapters today.
that's the modern attention span. So we spoke into that. My co-writer Gene Stone and I, he's one of my very very best friends, and we were looking for a project to do for a while. So we were like, let's do this. Nobody's ever talked about all the reasons. Like, let's just go through all the reasons,
Yeah.
right? And one of them is, dude, your erections,
Mm,
harder, longer. So that is something that people don't always think about. It's funny because I think more women, because we tend to be more sensitive or relational, we think about the animals and all that stuff. But you talk to a dude about his erections, and he's like, huh? Let's talk about that. And so it's all about the circulation. So the same stuff that clogs up your arteries, right? And causes heart failure or high blood pressure is also the same stuff that's clogging up the circulation to the penis.
yeah.
And so when you have clear arteries, you're not eating all that cholesterol and saturated fat that you get from animals, meat, dairy, eggs. you are going to have better circulation. And so that means better erections that are harder and longer. And it's the same thing for women. It's a circulation thing. So what is good for our hearts and turns out our brains as well, because, they're finding evidence that Alzheimer's could be,
Yeah.
along with other things could be, circulation and getting to your brain and everything. So it's the same thing that gets to our sexual organs. So I kind of love that. I'm like, yeah, this is working on a very primal level, It's like better sex. And when you have that great circulation, it makes you feel really confident and really sexy and really like available for everything that life has to offer. So I kind of think that that's like an add-on that people don't tend to think of. That some people, I think, when they're flirting with veganism or plant-based, whatever you want to call it, it's like, oh, what am I going to have to give up? But then when you find out, like, you get all this stuff
Right.
that you didn't even know you're bargaining for, it's like, yeah, I'll do that. So,
It's so interesting the those peripheral benefits
yeah,
that I mean, when if someone compliments my skin, the
yeah,
first thing I say is, must be what I'm eating.
yeah. Well, you're
I
not eating dead stuff,
Yeah.
right? You're
I'm
eating,
I'm not likely to tell them what I'm using for products. I
yeah.
just say it must be what I'm eating.
But that is the truth. I mean, at
Right,
the
right.
side, you can use whatever, products, and I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of products, but it can only go so far. It's like the glow comes from the inside.
Yes.
That glow is circulation, right? That youth and that glow and that energy that shows up on your skin. You can't apply that in a cream. That's
Right.
coming from the nutrients, the phytonutrients that coming from plants that are just circulating through your body. And that's just what happens.
Yeah. I also think there's a glow to compassion and the energy that we're eating. We're
Yeah.
not eating sadness. We're not eating torture. We're not eating fear.
Totally. And to bring it back to relationships again, for me, like, I'm very attracted to a man who cares about like being the defender of the least among us. I have a friend who's a fighter pilot in the Navy, and he became vegan because he said, I signed up to defend the most innocent, and to be the strength for the ones that can't defend themselves. And I'm like, that's amazing, because that, to me, that's a very heroic thing. And I see it in women too. I'm just speaking
Yeah. Yeah,
myself.
I love that.
What I'm attracted to is someone who's willing to do that. And I also am very attracted to and feel good about myself being this way, is that I don't really necessarily want to go along with masses. I kind of like the idea of thinking for myself and maybe being out a little bit in front of where the curve is, where the culture is. And that to me is very exciting. I like someone who is not just going along with what they're being fed. They're actually thinking deeply about the repercussions of their choices on their own, and they want to be a force in the world. And that is, I think, something that I really admire and
Mm.
want to strive to be.
Sorry for the interruption, but I have to ask, have you thought about going vegan but then reconsidered because it sounds too hard, too overwhelming, too removed from the normal way of eating? If so, that is totally normal. We've all been there. So I want to share with you a fun video. It's kind of like a tutorial of me going through my local grocery store magazine. And it doesn't matter if you don't live near a Hannaford, this still applies. And I show you how easy it is to veganize the various recipes presented. You could get the Hannaford Fresh magazine online for free and follow along with me, or you could just watch and listen as I explain the ease and accessibility of incorporating a plant-based diet. So I'd love to share this video with you. Just go to the show notes and click on free supermarket video and enjoy. And if you want more individualized help to implement a plant-based diet, then click on the link that's also in the show notes for a free coaching call. Now let's get back to the episode.
And I love the way you said that about the least
Among us, yeah.
yeah, these most vulnerable,
Yeah.
because people don't associate veganism with the massive impact on oppression
Yeah.
and racism, feminism,
Mhm.
socioeconomic issues. And
Mhm.
it's so intricately woven.
Mhm.
And while I don't want to stand too far onto a pedestal myself, I
Mhm.
do feel good about myself that I am not contributing
Mhm.
to these.
Yeah, these isms that are just so
Yeah,
destructive in the world, right?
right.
And that's great if you care about that stuff. And hopefully, a lot of us do, but even if you don't, it's just like I know I'm not causing that animal. Basically, most Americans eat about 250 animals a year. So the idea of like I have not caused suffering, like a
Mm,
horrible, horrible suffering to 250 beings.
yeah,
Like, how good do you feel like if
right.
in your life you rescue on the street 250 animals in a year, in 1 year, you're going to be like, my life was worth living. I
Mm,
did good. I did
yeah,
really good. And that feels so good to me. If I don't understand the rest of the isms and I'm not, down for it or for whatever my political belief is, I know that I didn't cause harm to these animals.
yeah.
And that feels really good to me because they didn't have a choice. And in my understanding of spirituality, it's like let's consider the least among us, and that little chicken and that little piglet and that little calf and that little goat, they couldn't take care of themselves. So I'm
Yeah.
really, really happy to have an effect in that realm.
It really is an emotion that is hard to vocalize. It is
Yeah.
so strong.
Mhm.
And you said at the at some point in the beginning of the conversation, you mentioned having an interest in spirituality, personal growth,
Mhm.
and then that pamphlet came in the mail, and I find that so interesting because a similar thing happened, not with a pamphlet, but I was already on my personal growth journey. I was
Ah,
already
uh-huh.
meditating, doing visualization work, journaling, already had this introspection going on,
Mhm.
consciousness, if you will.
Mhm.
And so I saw a nature documentary, and I've mentioned it many times on this show, but it wasn't factory farming. It wasn't anything like that. It was very naturey. And we watch a lot of nature documentaries in our house. I like a lot of those, whatever about wildlife and things. And I heard a message in that one. It was explicit. At the end of it, it kind of said, you need to go vegan to fix the planet. But it was a final message. It was just parting
Uh-huh.
words. And I don't know if they would have landed had I
Mm.
not already been on that journey.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'll never know because I
It
only
is,
heard
it
about
is
it.
interesting, because, Carl Jung talked about synchronicity and how, things sort of happen in a way that we're just like, we take notice and it doesn't feel like it's just by chance. It feels like you said you were on this path.
Yeah.
And I will tell you very clearly, I was not on a path to veganism.
No. Oh, no,
Not,
no, neither was I. I mean, I was
I was
like
not,
you. I'm not from
yeah,
the South, but I was eating multiple meats and
for
cheeses
sure,
3 meals a day.
for
Three
sure.
meals a day.
I mean,
I never had
I
a
mean,
meal without.
for sure. Yeah. I mean, if you told me I would, end up being a vegan advocate in my life, I'd be like, what are you high on? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's a thing that like once you start leaning in your life
Yeah.
into sort of like, I want to grow. I want to become deeper and
Yes.
more expansive.
Yeah, and that's why I say better. I mean, I heard Michael Greger say the better philosophy. Like don't worry about being the best,
Yeah.
but can you do better? So
Yes.
instead of the hamburger,
Yes.
have the Beyond Burger. Now maybe that's not as healthy as making your own black bean patties,
Yeah.
but it's better. Can we
By
just
the
be
way,
better?
black bean patties fall apart. I mean,
I
but
have
I'm
a
like,
hard time
I
with
know. I hate that some restaurants have gone back to, oh, we make our own, burger. I'm like,
You're like, no, I'll
really?
just take an
Is it?
impossible, please.
Yeah, can we just go back to the impossible because it's so much better. I mean, I want
Yeah.
to hold together, I want to eat my
Right.
fries, I want to put the
Yes.
ketchup on and, all the things. So,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
but yeah, it is a funny thing. And it's resonance, right, Jenny? It's like you resonate with things in a different way. Once you start to like say, okay, I do want my life to have more meaning. I want to be deeper. I want to bring more light into the world in whatever way I can.
Mm,
And so then there's a resonance, and
yeah.
you're attracted to maybe different people, you're attracted to different ways of eating,
Yeah.
you resonate at a
Yeah.
different level, and your life in very subtle and then sometimes very huge ways changes and
Yeah.
makes adjustments, and that's
Yeah.
that's to me kind of magical.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Hmm.
So, of all the many books that you've written, there is one about protein. So,
Yeah.
I cannot let you leave this
Yeah.
conversation without
Hmm.
addressing this word that is so profound in the world. And here we are in a new year, so maybe we can shed some light for people on this massive topic that has consumed us for the last few years.
Hmm.
So, for these flirty vegans,
Hmm.
can you first clear up how much freaking protein do we actually need?
Hmm.
And then how do you get enough of it without
Hmm.
constantly thinking about it?
Hmm. Well, for everybody, it's different. So it depends on how old you are, how athletic you are, if you're pregnant, what your needs are, right? So it could be 50, 60 grams. It could be, if you're a serious athlete, it could be 100 grams, whatever. So there's a calculation in kilos that you can do.
Okay.
It's in my book, Clean Protein. Or you could also Google it, like what's the calculation of how much protein I need. And it's very easy to get that amount of protein from plants. So say like, most people eat eggs for the protein, right? They're not eating eggs because eggs taste delicious. They're eating it for the protein. So basically, in one egg, there's 6 grams of protein, roughly 3 in the yolk and 3 in the white. So if you're throwing out the yolk, say, and you're only doing egg whites because you don't want all that cholesterol, you're getting 3 grams of protein. Maybe you throw 4 eggs in there and you're getting 12, if you're scrambling them up. Well, you're getting, I think, 17 to 18 grams of protein from 1 cup of cooked lentils. And that's like 1 cup is kind of tiny, so you're getting a lot of protein with those lentils. But on top of that, you're getting the fiber, which is like, we say in our book, sorry if it's offensive to you, but I'm like, fiber is your body's bitch. I mean, fiber
Mm,
is the thing that like slows down that sugar response in your body. It's the thing that pushes out the gunk through your
yep.
colon. It's the thing that, makes you feel full so you don't overeat. So lentils has the protein, but it also has the fiber and healthy carbohydrates. I mean, there's
Mm,
been this vilification of
so
carbohydrates.
ridiculous.
And yeah, Pop Tarts are not good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Cookies, cupcakes, simple carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Are kind of like
But
eating.
right, those are the carbs that when people say
But
reduce
if
your
you're
carbs, they're talking about those.
but if you're eating legumes, beans, nuts,
Sweet potatoes.
tubers, sweet potatoes,
Yeah.
things like that, those are good carbs. And by
Right.
the way, your brain works on carbohydrates. You
Right.
need carbs for your brain. And that, research is showing that they think the human brain expanded and got so big and smart because of tubers, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, all those paleo people are kind of being proven wrong. So anyway, clean protein is all about, so you can get all of that you need from your beans, from peanut butter, from all kinds of stuff. But it's also what you're not getting. So you're not getting
Right.
all the antibiotics and the growth hormones that go into factory farmed animals in order for them to be able to survive long enough to get to slaughter, right? Because they're in close quarters with other animals, and so they tend to get sick
Yeah.
and they die, or they get too sick to be slaughtered and to be sold as meat. So it's
Mm,
profitable. You got to keep them on antibiotics, and you got to keep,
right.
so it's, and all kinds of stuff to get that meat that is a corpse. It's like dead and disgusting. I don't know if you've seen roadkill, but it ain't pretty, right? So they put all kinds of things that they're not required to list on the label, like all kinds of preservatives in there and colorings to make it nice and bright red, to, so you're not getting all of that stuff. You're not getting salmonella, campylobacter, E. coli, the things that are in meats. You don't get that from lentils, right?
Yeah.
You don't get all kinds of zoonotic diseases,
Right.
bird flu comes from, when that stuff spreads in flocks of animals or closely
Yeah.
held animals. And so it's what you're getting, with the
Yeah.
plant-based stuff, and
Hmm.
what you're not
Not
getting
getting. Mm,
with the animal protein.
I
And
love that.
if you need a little, if you're like me, I don't always have time to think it through and cook the right thing and whatever. So I will have a protein shake,
Right.
sometimes if
Yeah.
I'm working out hard, I will have a protein shake. And there's all kinds of delicious plant-based protein shakes, and I could tell you a
Yeah.
bunch that are my favorite. And I throw in a scoop of protein and some frozen kale, some frozen blueberries, a little bit of peanut butter. I
Right.
almost pretty much have hit my protein needs for the day. So
Right.
even if you're very athletic and you need more than 60 grams, then you can easily supplement with, and by the way, meat eaters supplement with protein powders all the time too, because
Right.
they think they need all this extra
Right.
stuff. So everyone's supplementing with protein powders. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
also like great pastas that are made from chickpeas,
Yeah.
only chickpeas,
Yep. Yeah. I'm
or
obsessed with the red lentil pasta,
so good.
and
It's
it's
so
so high in protein.
yeah. And
Yeah.
the Beyond and Impossible, that's really high in
Right.
protein, and
Yeah.
yeah, there's just so much. And the amino acids you're getting naturally. You don't have to combine the foods like
Hmm.
having the rice and beans. If you're eating different foods over the course of 24 hours, even longer,
Right.
all those amino acids are coming in. It doesn't have to be at the exact same time. You don't have to worry about that. We're getting everything that we need.
Yeah. Good. I hope that cleared that up for everybody. I would like to be done with the protein conversation once and for all,
You
but
won't be,
I
because
know. I know.
the industry has a vested interest, and they're going to keep that
Yes.
conversation
All
going.
right.
And I think I just want to say here too, because there's probably a lot of people who are already advocates who are listening to this, and it's like we got to have patience for these questions,
Hmm.
because
Oh, I know. I'll
had
just
these
keep beating
questions.
the drum. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I'm sure you had these questions. I had these questions. We
Sure.
all have the questions about, oh, am I going to get enough protein? Am I getting
Yeah.
enough iron? They are legit questions.
Hmm. Hmm.
Let's answer them. That's why Jean and I wrote 72 Reasons to Be Vegan. It's like all the things you might be wondering about.
Yep.
Here it is, because we wondered about the same thing.
Sure.
They're legit. There's a lot of crazy information out there. So it's okay. And we can
Yeah.
share the information.
That is true. That is true. All right. So it is the new year. So I'm curious. I don't know if you buy into the whole resolution thing, whether you do, whether you don't. I would love to hear what your vision or hopes for the new year are.
Huh, besides peace on earth?
That, fixing the economy,
Right,
ending
right,
all the wars,
right,
besides those.
right. My personal or big time? I think for the world, I mean, it's like I feel like we've maybe taken a step backwards in terms of this plant-based conversation, just because of the over processed. And we know the marketing firm that came up with this, the ultra processed thing. So it's like been very effective
Yeah.
and funded by the meat industry. So I would love to see more people just saying, hey, there's a difference in ultra processed like,
Yes.
the Pop Tarts or the Jimmy Dean sausage sandwich pizza thing. Let's all just relax and
Yeah.
lean into a good, healthy balance of food that is both fun and nutritious. We can have both. We don't have to be so severe. So
Yeah.
that's my big wish for the new year.
That's a
And
good one.
yeah, and my personal one is always like crowd out, not cut out. So what is
Yeah.
the
I
thing
love
that
that.
I'm, like, okay, I'll just admit to you, I have this chocolate bar that I'm obsessed with. It's so damn good. I'm like, I get into this thing and I'm like, just 3 squares. And then it's
Yep.
12 squares later, So
What is it?
it's called Lily's.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yep.
so good.
Yeah.
It's dark chocolate and there's no sugar
Okay.
and it's so good. And listen,
Yeah.
in small doses, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it. But so
Yeah.
I would say my thing is to crowd out, not cut out. So instead
Okay.
of like cutting out my Lily's chocolate bar, which I love so much, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna like, also add in, a piece of fruit
I
during
was
the
going
day.
to say, according to your book, have the
Yeah,
apple first, then
exactly.
some of the chocolate.
Exactly. And that's
Follow
what I
your own
do.
advice.
I love it. I love it. It's always a reminder to that stuff. It's so true. It's
Yep.
like I'm not
Have
going
the
to
little
say,
handful of nuts, Kathy.
yeah, totally. And it's like I'm not going to say no to this thing that I love, but first I'm going to
Right.
have a piece of fruit, or during the day I'm going to have a couple of extra pieces of fruit, which is, by the way, super healthy. Don't worry about the sugar because that's a totally different thing. It's got all the fiber that's good for you.
Right.
The sugar. And if I still want 12 squares of the
Yeah.
lilies, then fine. But in
Yeah.
all likelihood, I've now filled myself up a little bit,
Exactly.
crowded it out. I've not cut it out, but I've crowded out my addiction. Or
Yeah. Yeah. I tell people all the time. I mean, before this platform, before this vegan journey, before all of it, I had a baking business that was 100% animal based. I mean, I went
Mm,
through dozens of eggs a day, double digit sticks of butter.
mm.
I I could go an entire day with eating nothing other than
Oh
buttercream
yeah.
frosting, batter from
Yeah.
whatever I was making, and then the chocolate that went along,
Yeah.
either chocolate chips or M&Ms to go along with. And I mean, talk about no fiber, no nutrition,
Right.
no vitamins and minerals of any kind. So I get it. And so I am someone that does not cut out
Uh-uh.
chocolate. I do not cut out
No.
candy. Do I know that apples are better for me, dates are better for me than Mike and Ike?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm aware of that. But I'm not swearing off
And
any candy
right.
that doesn't contain animals. I will still partake
Yeah,
once
we
in a
want to
while.
enjoy our
Yeah,
lives.
yeah,
That's the thing. And it's like if you enter into this, if you flirt with vegan and you go full on and you don't enjoy your life, that's when you make the exit
yeah,
and you return to your
yeah.
old ways. It's like you
And you trash talk it too.
totally, totally. It's like,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Let's give ourselves some space. Let's give ourselves a break. Life is hard enough,
Yes.
and short enough that we also have to really enjoy ourselves. And so
Yes.
let's do that. Let's just do it in ways that are just not,
Yeah.
totally awful for the
Yeah.
animals or for
Right.
whatever, for our health. And we can do it. We can have both things.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
am so grateful to the products that have made themselves so available
Yeah.
that make baking and cooking and copycatting so
Yeah.
easy. I am
I
so
hope you're
grateful.
going to open up a plant-based bakery, a vegan bakery.
Ah,
No, that's not the car.
no, no. The food service industry is grueling, and
Okay.
hats off to anyone, vegan or not, who's out there from, dawn till dawn doing it because
Oh,
it's,
hats off to them because I mean, we've
yeah.
got a bakery in LA that is like to die for. I mean,
Mm,
croissants and tarts and stuff like that. And I'm like, thank you for doing this. So yeah,
right?
I'm
Yeah.
sure it is super challenging, but I'm
Yeah.
very grateful.
Yeah. I will make it a point to get to every good vegan bakery
Yes.
around the
Yes.
world.
Yes,
That's
yes.
that's a book that could be on the horizon for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's some good research to be doing.
Right? Right?
I will
Forget
partake
all
in
those
that.
facts and figures and
Yeah,
environmental stats,
personal
Kathy.
tastings. That's right. I'm happy to do that.
Well, if you need an assistant, I'm up for
Yeah.
that one.
Okay, good. Good to know. Thank you.
All right, Kathy, this has been delightful. I would love for you to tell the listeners a little bit more about where to find you and follow you and get more of you.
Oh, thank you. I think mostly these days I'm on Instagram. It's Kathy Freston on Instagram, Kathy with a K, Freston with an F like Frank. And that's kind of where I spend most of my time these days. I also have kathyfreston.com if you want some of the standard stuff. But come follow
Yeah.
me on Instagram. I'm very active with the community, and I think we have some really kind people. Never traumatize, never show pictures of traumatized animals, and won't do that. It's just about a celebration of animal sentience and really delicious food and the occasional
Yeah.
martini.
The best thing I think you ever posted was I think it was a cow, the cow coming up to the kitchen window.
Oh yeah, wasn't that great?
Oh my God,
I
that
know.
was my favorite.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I want to do is just show how lovely these animals are. It's like the cow that we forgot went into that burger. Here's what she looks like. Here's her personality. So, like, once we get to see the loveliness and the funniness and the cuteness
Right?
of animals, you kind of don't want to eat them because they're just so damn adorable, and they're not very unlike our cats and dogs. So it's really fun. It's really heartwarming videos that I share.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hopefully,
I do love them. Thank you.
yeah.
And so my final question kind of piggybacks off of what we were just talking about, which is favorite foods. So if
Oh,
you could give us some of your, or just pick one or two, three of your favorite foods, snacks, beverages, what do you
hmm.
love to consume?
Okay, well, let's see. What do I love to consume? It's winter time. I love spaghetti and meatballs. I love the Beyond meatballs so much. I love a good burger and fries with a big fat martini. I love pancakes on a Sunday. Yeah, there's all kinds of, you can make pancakes really easily
I
without.
love pancakes.
Yeah, it's just my favorite thing in the world. I feel so special when I have pancakes.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
I just feel like it's a celebration,
It
you know.
is, and my vegan my vegan pancakes, I
Yeah.
use pumpkin, which is why I guess I call them pumpcakes. My
Mm,
family has they do know that they're vegan because they see
yeah,
me eat them, but I
right.
think if I didn't eat them, they wouldn't know.
Would know. Nobody would know. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I just get whatever brand I find at the store, and instead of adding eggs, you just add egg replacer, or you can add
right. Flax
applesauce or
egg.
banana or whatever, and it's just like so good.
Right? It's so
Mm.
easy. I just did a while back. I did this video to show my local supermarket makes their own magazine. And it's
Oh.
very cute. It's recipes and handy items that are in the store that they want to promote.
Mhm.
And it's not very vegan friendly, and I'm trying to work with them on that.
Mhm.
So I did this video tutorial on how to veganize the
Oh, I love
magazine.
that.
And one of the things they were highlighting was pumpkin pancakes using the store
Oh, yeah,
quick
sure.
mix.
Yeah.
And I said, whether you're near a Hannaford and can get the Hannaford mix, or you're just buying Bisquick or whatever store brand
Yeah.
generic pancake mix, I love that they're, for the most part, I mean, I can't speak to all of them, I haven't checked, but for the most part, they are vegan until you
Totally.
add milk and egg.
Yeah.
So
And
just
milk is
don't.
super easy. Like
Oh,
if I use oat milk for my coffee in the morning. So
yep. I'm a
oat
soy milk fan.
Yeah, love soy milk. So
Yep.
that's super easy. And then
Right.
the egg part is super easy. If you don't
Right.
have egg replacer, the product, you go online and it tells you exactly how much banana or how much, applesauce or whatever.
Or the chickpea juice.
Yeah, there's all kinds
There's
of
so
ways
many
to
tricks.
substitute for eggs, and it's just like they're fantastic. So
Yeah. Yeah.
pancakes on a Sunday,
Yes.
that's my favorite.
All right. And you did say earlier about the protein powder. Do you have a favorite?
I still like Vega Sport. Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's really good. I don't know if FITA is still around, but I love FITA, which is FYTA,
Okay.
from the guy
I
who
don't.
did Game Changers games,
Oh,
and it's super good. It's delicious. But yeah, that and Vegas Sport are
yeah.
my favorites, and I just
Yeah.
blend it up, you know. And I also like Owen. I just so happen to be drinking an Owen. It's
Hmm.
only what you need is what it stands for. It's 32
Oh,
grams of protein, zero sugar. So
wow.
yeah, if I'm on the go, that's an easy one to bring out to the car with me or whatever. So that's really
That's
good.
awesome.
32
That
grams,
is,
one little
that's
bottle.
huge.
Yeah, it's like you got half of it covered for the day.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's awesome. I love that, Kathy.
yeah.
Well, this has been a true bucket list moment for me.
Uh,
So I thank
thank
you for
you.
that.
Thank you. I enjoyed it so much, so much.
And I just wish you the best in this new year and always.
You too. Right back at you and your community too.
How amazing is Kathy Freston? I'm still buzzing over here, having a hard time believing that she actually came onto the Flirty Vegan with me. So let me get into the juicy bits from this episode. Number one, Kathy's simple spiritual values include kindness, mercy, alleviating suffering, and being a responsible steward of this planet. Number two, we all need fun food to go with the healthy food, and we get it all as vegans. Number three, the same stuff that clogs arteries in the heart also clogs the blood vessels to the penis. So sit with that one for a moment. Number four, veganism means not contributing to the other isms of the world. Number five, most Americans eat around 250 animals per year. Number six, think of spirituality as considering the least among us, the populations of beings that are unable to care for or defend themselves. Number seven, an individual's protein needs depend on age, athleticism, pregnant or not, nursing or not, so it is going to vary person to person. Number eight, fiber is your body's bitch. I love that one. Number nine, plant protein doesn't have growth hormones, antibiotics, preservatives, coloring, salmonella, E. coli, all those phenomenal things that you can find in animal products. Number 10, eating a varied, whole food, plant based diet gets you all the amino acids and everything your body needs. Number 11, crowd out, don't cut out. I love that philosophy and incorporate that into my own coaching. And finally, number 12, Kathy's favorite foods include spaghetti and vegan meatballs, vegan burger and fries, and a martini, and pancakes. And I have talked a lot about pancakes in my content. So if you would like my recipe for delicious, protein packed, plant based pumpkin chocolate chip pancakes, just let me know. Send me an email, jenny@theflirtyvegan.com. I am so grateful to Kathy Freston for coming on the show. I'm so grateful to you, the listener, for tuning in, liking, and subscribing wherever you're listening, sharing this episode with friends, and also clicking the links in the show notes. And speaking of links, you will find in the show notes a link to my free supermarket video that I mentioned during the episode, and also a link for a free coaching call to get you started on your plant-based journey. So be sure to check those links. And I look forward to seeing you right back here in 2 weeks for my conversation with the phenomenal Dr. Ruby Lathan, who is a cancer survivor and plant-based nutrition powerhouse. So that's an episode you don't want to miss. And as always, with a heart full of gratitude and a fridge full of veggies, I send you peace, love, and chickpeas. Mwah!